When you get rich, tell no one. That sounds like something your paranoid uncle would whisper at a family dinner, right? But here's the thing that might shock you. Some of the wealthiest people you walk past every single day are driving beat-up Honda Civics, buying clothes from Target, and you'd never guess they have more money in their bank accounts than most people will see in a lifetime. My name is Adam, and I spend way too much time thinking about money and why most people completely sabotage their financial future the moment they start accumulating any real wealth. If you're someone who actually wants to understand what true financial freedom looks like, instead of just playing dress-up with expensive toys, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it changes how you think about wealth. Now, before we dive into why keeping your mouth shut about money might be the smartest financial decision you'll ever make, let me ask you something. When you picture getting rich, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Maybe it's posting photos of a new Lamborghini on Instagram. Perhaps it's buying a mansion with more rooms than you could ever use. Or walking into designer stores and buying whatever catches your eye without looking at price tags. Here's what's fascinating about human psychology. Most people don't actually want to be rich. They want to look rich. There is a massive gulf between those two things, and understanding that difference will determine whether you build lasting wealth or end up broke with a closet full of designer clothes. Think about it this way. Why do you really want money? Strip away all the surface-level answers and get brutally honest with yourself. Sure, you might say you want financial freedom or the ability to retire your parents. But if you dig deeper, there's a part of human nature that wants other people to know you've made it. You want respect, admiration, maybe even a little bit of envy from people who are still stuck in jobs they hate. In Islamic tradition, this urge to parade your success for public display is called Riya, a dangerous spiritual and social trap of ostentation. The moment you start showing off your wealth, you've essentially painted a target on your back. And I'm not just talking about street criminals, though that's definitely part of it. I'm talking about something much more subtle and potentially damaging to your long-term financial health and peace of mind. Let me introduce you to a concept called stealth wealth. It might be the most powerful financial strategy nobody talks about. Stealth wealth is exactly what it sounds like. You accumulate significant wealth, but nobody around you has any idea. You live modestly, drive reasonable cars, and avoid the trap of lifestyle inflation that destroys so many people who achieve financial success. Now, I know what you're thinking. Adam, what's the point of having money if you can't enjoy it? That's a fair question, and we'll get to that. But first, let me show you why broadcasting your wealth is one of the fastest ways to lose it. Privacy and security concerns explode the moment people know you have money. But the real danger comes from how your relationships change once people know you're wealthy. Suddenly, every interaction becomes tainted with suspicion. Is that new friend hanging out because they genuinely like you, or because they expect you to pick up the tab at expensive restaurants? Is that distant relative calling more often because they miss you, or because they heard through the family grapevine that you came into some money? This isn't cynicism. This is reality. Money changes how people perceive you and how they behave around you. Some of the loneliest people in the world are wealthy individuals who can never be sure if someone loves them for who they are or for what's in their bank account. Here's something that might surprise you. Many high earners deliberately choose to drive modest vehicles. We're talking about people making multiple six figures who are cruising around in Toyota Camrys and Honda Accords. Why? Because they've figured out something most people never learn. Your car doesn't need to be a billboard advertising your financial status. In Islamic ethics, this is the principle of tawadu, conscious humbleness. By driving a reasonable car and living in a modest home, you preserve something priceless: authenticity. You form genuine relationships with people who have no idea about your net worth. You interact with others as equals, without the weird power dynamics that money often creates. Think about your current friend group. How would those relationships change if they knew you had 10 times more money than they did? Would there be an underlying tension that wasn't there before? This is why so many wealthy people end up surrounding themselves only with other wealthy people. It's not snobbery, it's self-defense. And it gets worse. The pressure to maintain appearances once you start showing off creates a vicious cycle. You buy an expensive car to show success. Now you feel pressured to live up to that image. You need clothes that match the car, a home worthy of the car, and vacations that fit the lifestyle. Before you know it, you're trapped in what I call the appearance prison. You're working harder and spending more money just to maintain an illusion created for other people's benefit. In economic and Islamic financial thought, this is classic Israf, senseless wastefulness. And when it's funded by high-interest debt, it becomes riba, which completely drains the barakah, the true blessings and sustainability, out of your wealth. Meanwhile, the truly wealthy person is quietly compounding assets because they're not burning money on status symbols. There's an old saying about wealth that captures this perfectly. There are 3 levels of rich. When you're poor, you cut your own grass. When you're middle class, you pay someone else to cut your grass. When you're truly wealthy, you cut your own grass again. Why? Because you've realized that true freedom means doing what you want to do, not what you think rich people are supposed to do. The person cutting their own grass again has realized that possessions don't bring lasting happiness. This brings us to a foundational truth. Money isn't the trophy for your ego. It's an amana, a resource entrusted to you for temporary stewardship. The things that truly matter in life cost either nothing or very little. Time with family, a good night's sleep, a walk in nature, a book that reshapes your perspective, an honest conversation. None of these require displaying wealth, but stealth wealth gives you the ultimate luxuries, control over your time, and peace of mind. Consider this scenario. You're in a high school reunion, and that guy who used to try to bully you walks up bragging about his new Tesla and his corner office view. Meanwhile, you're standing there in your 5-year-old jeans and plain t-shirt, knowing you could buy his entire neighborhood without checking your account balance. But the true beauty of stealth wealth isn't about spite. In Islam, intention is everything. The point is that you no longer have anything to prove to anyone. You cultivate an inner quality called qana'ah, deep contentment and independence from external validation. You navigate the world like a superhero in civilian clothes. Let me give you a practical example of how this plays out. I know a guy who made a fortune in real estate. Every morning, he puts on work boots, gets into his beat-up pickup truck, and drives to construction sites. His crew has no idea he owns the entire development company. He eats lunch with them, jokes around, and gets treated like one of the guys. Compare that to the contractor who pulls up in a brand new luxury truck. Suddenly, every worker is asking for a raise or assuming they're being overcharged. Which person has less stress and better relationships? The answer is obvious. Plus, when service providers think you're an average customer, you get honest quotes. The moment they smell money, everything becomes twice as expensive. Mechanics find non-existent problems. Contractors inflate their estimates. There's an entire industry designed to extract money from people who love showing off. Now let's address the elephant in the room. What's the point of having money if you can't spend it and enjoy it? That's the fundamental misunderstanding. Money isn't meant to impress people. Money is meant to buy options. It's meant to buy freedom. It's meant to eliminate unnecessary stress. Psychologists call this protection against hedonic adaptation. That first week in a luxury car feels amazing, but by month 3, it's just your car, except with massive maintenance bills. Meanwhile, the person who chose a reliable classic car and deployed the difference into halal investments builds genuine financial confidence. Stealth wealth doesn't mean stinginess. In fact, it makes your generosity far more profound. When you help family or give to charity quietly, what's known in Islam as secret sadaqah, your left hand doesn't know what your right hand gives. You're not doing it for applause or social clout, but for pure purpose. And that yields a level of fulfillment no hypercar could ever purchase. So when you get rich, keep your mouth shut. Let everyone else play the exhausting, expensive theater of financial status. Build your wealth quietly. Enjoy your freedom privately. And remember that true prosperity isn't about what you own. It's about making sure your possessions don't own you. The best kind of rich is the kind nobody sees coming.